What? Why did we get a wide receiver? Why did we get a wide receiver? Don't tell me. Why did we get a wide receiver?
Oh, they got your. Oh, damn, he a dog though.
Oh shit, he is a dog.
But wide receiver.
That's a good pick though.
Good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football guys. Wake up this morning, guys. Wake up. Man, how are you guys doing today? It is Sunday, another Sunday without football, but guys, we're getting close. It's 102 days, 10 hours, 39 minutes, and 10 seconds away. I know that sounds like a long ways to go, but you know, when I restarted the clock, it was like 22 days. So we got 3 weeks behind us. We're only talking about 102 days left. You know, a couple days, by Tuesday, we'll be under 100. Actually, we'll be at 101 in 10 hours and 38 minutes. So that, my friends, is good news. And, of course, we got 2 more weeks of OTAs. So we'll be talking about our players on the field. And I'm thrilled. Now, this morning, I had something in my head. And this saying, when you got money, you got lots of friends. When you don't, they don't come around. And I Googled it, because Google, you can find everything on Google, okay? On Google, right? And I Googled, wait, let me do that again. When you got money, because I'm trying to remember. I Googled it. I'm going old school here. And when I Googled it, because I Googled those lyrics. When you got money, you got lots of friends. When you don't, they don't come around. And what kept coming up was 21 Savage. I was like, who? Who? That ain't what I'm talking. I'm talking about old school. So then I put old school song lyrics. When you got money, you got lots of friends. And the original wouldn't come up. And I said, damn, I know this song, but I just can't remember who did it. Because this is way, way, way back. So I called the original Google. That's right. I called my dad. Called my parents this morning. Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday and everything else. And I said, I'm trying to remember the song. When you got lots of money, you got lots of friends. And when they don't come around. And my mom said, Tyron, who did that song? And he said, Lou Rawls. No, Ray Charles. No, it's Lou Rawls. And it was Lou Rawls. So I looked up Lou Rawls, When You Got Lots of Money. And I don't know why it didn't hit me, because my dad always says this: God bless the child that's got his own. That's the name of the song by Lou Rawls, way, way, way back. I would play the clip from it, but probably would get copyrighted and everything else, and the YouTube police would come after me. But that is key. When you got money, you got lots of friends. When you don't, they don't come around. Hence, be careful with your money. All you NFL players that got paid, that are getting paid, understand you got lots of friends when you got money. But when you're a broke ass like me, ain't nobody coming around. Ain't nobody coming around. And the reason I was looking for this, because in the NFL, if you got a quarterback, that's money. When you don't, fans ain't coming around. Because generally speaking, if you do not have money, your team is lost. So what I want to do is I want to look at where we stand in the NFC East at quarterback, because there's an interesting trend that I noticed when I look at statistics, now you guys know I'm a stats guy. I'm a guy who loves statistics and looking at numbers. Doesn't mean that the numbers are always going to be right, but you can get a good feel for things by the numbers. Okay? So if you go through, let's play this little exercise here. Okay? Wait, hold up. Let's see. Let's pull up the NFL standings. Okay. Here's what I want you to understand. Let's look at last year. Okay. We got AFC East. Buffalo Bills win the division. When you look at the AFC East, who had the best quarterback there? Josh Allen? Boom. They won. AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Ben Roethlisberger, and you got Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to say that Big Ben is the best quarterback in the division at this time, but he's definitely better than everybody else that's below him, Cleveland and Cincinnati. But you can look at that and say, the two best quarterbacks in that division, 1 and 2. Maybe they should be 2 and 1. The only one that's really an outlier here is when you go to AFC South and you see the Titans, okay? And you see the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson at 3rd. That's more of the exception than the rule. But you go up to the AFC West, and you see, of course, Kansas City, best quarterback probably in the NFL, and, of course, 14 and 2. We get to our division. Without Dak Prescott, I can't really say that there was a great quarterback. We had so many quarterbacks playing last year. You had 2 in Philadelphia. You had 2 playing in New York. We had 4 in Dallas, and I think Washington had 4. There really wasn't a great quarterback in there, and it was more ineptitude. But Dak, for his 5 games, probably put up the best numbers. And I would say, actually, Alex Smith, through a few of his games, may have actually been the second best when he played, between the injuries. But there was nothing out there that said, oh, yeah, we had a great quarterback that was playing for a whole season. There really wasn't. You go to NFC North, the Green Bay Packers, okay? Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, definitely blew everybody away. New Orleans with Drew Brees as well as, of course, Tom Brady, 1 and 2. You look at the NFC West, Seattle, Russell Wilson. So you look at it and say the best quarterback at worst is usually first or second in the division, with one exception, and that being the Texans because, well, let's face it, the Texans, they're ass. So let's start with Daniel Jones, okay? Daniel Jones actually had more starts last year than any quarterback in the NFC East. He had 14. Carson Wentz had 12. I think Alex Smith had, 5 or 6. Dak had 5, I believe. Yeah, 5. And we had 4 with Jalen Hurts. So Daniel Jones played almost a full season, played the most in the NFC East. And for the season, in those 14 games, he had 2,943 yards, 6.6 yard average, and 11 TDs and 10 interceptions. I know what you're going to say. Well, he didn't have his running back. True, he didn't. But you have to start saying, with Barkley being as injury prone as he's been, you got to start planning for playing without him. When you've missed as many games as he has, you have to say anything I get from him is a bonus. And the problem for running backs is you're in a position where you get a lot of abuse. Chances are you're going to get nicked up and injured as a running back. And if you've already in your first couple of years been injured a lot, you don't all of a sudden turn around and say, well, I got all my injuries out the way early, and now I'm going to be healthy for the next 3-4 years. It don't work that way. Because running backs, usually by the 4th year, that's the pinnacle. So you have to look at the Giants and say, if we get anything out of Barkley, that is a bonus, but don't count on it. Okay, so let's go by comparison. And shout out to Stathead Football because they make it really easy. So I use Pro Football Reference, okay? I like using that site. They have a thing in here now where you can actually compare player to player, head to head. So you can actually get all the statistics that you want when you really want to evaluate what one player is doing versus another. And I love that. I absolutely positively love this. So what I did was I compared Danny Dimes, Danny Dollar Store, Danny Broke Ass, whatever you want to call him, with Dak Prescott. And of course, you know, Daniel Jones only has 2 seasons. Dak Prescott, of course, has 4 and a quarter. If we go through the numbers between Daniel Jones, okay, Daniel Jones in his career thus far has 35 TDs, 22 interceptions, okay, been sacked 83 times. That's a lot in 2 seasons, especially since he didn't start all of his first season. Is averaging 6.6 yards per pass. Compare that to Dak Prescott, and if you want to work out the numbers, and we'll work out the numbers. It'll break it down lower. Look in Dak Prescott's career. Dak Prescott definitely has a lot more experience. Has 17,000 yards versus 5,900. Has 106 passing TDs to 35. Interceptions. Here's the thing that's kind of interesting is Daniel Jones has got 22 in his 2 seasons. Dak only has 40 in his 5. So you look at that interception ratio, it's a lot higher for Daniel Jones. The other thing is yard average. Dak Prescott 7.7. Daniel Jones 6.6. That's a big difference. All right, so if we go, look at this. I love this. Game by game. Okay, this is game by game average. So this is like, forget all of the years. We're just taking the averages per game. So a couple of things that were actually really interesting to me, because a lot of people will think that, well, Dak Prescott, he's a running quarterback and things like that. He's got, because we talk about the 26 touchdowns that he's had rushing the football. I'm sorry, 24 touchdowns he's had rushing the football. But the thing that's interesting is Daniel Jones runs the football more than Dak Prescott. Isn't that kind of, does that surprise you? Because let's look at the numbers. Average completions per game is actually about the same. I mean, we're not far apart. One more completion per game. Might as well say 21 for Daniel Jones, 22 for Dak Prescott. Attempts, we're actually passing 33.6, about the same number of passes. Yards, here's where the big difference is. We're passing and having about the same amount of completions. We're getting 35 yards more passing yards per game from Dak Prescott. And TDs-wise, we're actually getting, slightly more TDs per game. 1.5 TDs per game for Daniel Jones is 1.5. Where it gets to be the bigger difference, and this actually is kind of amazing, is the rushing. I was surprised to see that on average, Daniel Jones rushes 4.1, Dak 3.8. It's not a big difference. But when you look at Daniel Jones has 3 rushing touchdowns to Dak Prescott's 24. That's a whole nother dimension. It's not that Dak is running more times. He's just a hell of a lot better at it. And from the standpoint you look at this, if we're saying that having quarterbacks is the be-all, end-all, which will help project your team forward, by all means, the Cowboys get the check against Daniel Jones. Without a doubt. You've got to look at that and say it's night and day difference. You're getting more yards per completion. You're getting more yards per game. You're getting more efficient running. You're getting more experience. It's just the Cowboys are definitely better than the New York Giants as far as quarterback. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go through the whole NFC East, and we will look at all of the quarterbacks because we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, we got Jalen Hurts that are still left, and compare where we are here. It's almost not really fair to compare Jalen Hurts because there's really not a very big sample size. We only have 4 games to go off of. And I mean, quite frankly, you can look at that and say Dak Prescott's, unless you're an Eagle fan, because I know Lord Brunson, Lord, says Jalen Hurts is better than Dak Prescott. You need Jesus. You need Jesus. All right. I hope you guys are having a great holiday weekend, and I will talk to you guys later on, but you know what time it is. It's time for me to go to work. I got work to do in the workshop and, of course, the honeydews. Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?